Yeah, there are a number of processes in human resource management. These processes could be human resource planning, recruitment, shortlisting, interviews, and among other processes, performance management, training, disciplinary management, grievance management. But one of the processes which is very, very important is what we call induction, or others will call it orientation. So when you talk about orientation or induction, this is whereby you want to train people who have just joined an organization, and during the probation, during the first month, second month, third month, up to maybe 6 months, 7 months, you need to be able to educate them on their role and also what you're expecting from them, and also at the same time you need also to discuss with them in terms of the nature of the organization, or vision, mission of the organization. So it's always important that whenever the new employees have joined, they have to be oriented or inducted on a number of issues. So the most important thing is to say the induction should be in two phases. The one that has to be done by the human resource department, and another one which has to be done by the technical department where this particular employee might be working. So you might find that the human resources department would be able to induct them in terms of the terms and conditions of service, the systems, where are the toilets, where are the other offices, or even introduce them to other employees within the organization. Yeah, so they have to know more about what the organization is all about, the strategic plan, and be able to share various documentation with these particular employees, the new employees, in terms of the vision, mission of the organization, and also a number of things what are there in terms of issues of conflict of interest, anti-corruption policies, and many other processes. So this process could take a week. It's just a matter of it could be through sessions, or even you can be able to call them maybe within a day or 1 hour, or you can be able to call them to come to the HR department or to the boardroom, so that you can be able to orient them on this kind of things. And also at the same time, another session could be organized whereby different departments would be able to share information about the organization and what they do in the different departments, so that this employee should be able to know what the organization is all about. And also maybe we can be able to have a meeting with the CEO, so that the CEO can also be able to explain to these employees on what is the vision and mission of the organization, but also to welcome these particular employees, so that this will generate team spirit in the employees, but also they have a feeling of belongingness to say, no, I've been received. You might find that some organizations, or you join an organization, but maybe your laptop is not ready, or even your office is not ready. So the employee would feel not being welcomed. And once the HR is done with the other particular orientation, the technical department will now have to do a lot of orientation in terms of the job at hand, so that you should be able to perform as expected. And at the same time, the employer through the head of department would be able to agree certain KPIs which have to be achieved, because you only achieve something which you have already agreed to say. So you have to have the KPIs which are coming maybe from the strategic plan, and how do they speak well to the KPIs of this particular employee. So the organization's department might have its own KPIs, but also the employee would also have the KPIs. This is no regardless of whether someone has been appointed through promotion or among other things. But if it's the CEO, the board, or the board chair would be able to conduct such kind of an orientation to this particular employee. But also the various department would be presenting to the CEO, the new CEO, in terms of what they do, what their KPIs and all that, and what they expected, what are their plans, what's in the budget. The finance director will be able to present the budget, and also what they are planned within the year, the annual work plan, and all those things. So this process, it tends to improve the rapport. It builds the rapport among its colleagues, and also it strengthens and builds bond within the organization. So it's always important and for the employer to also share with the employee the don'ts and the do's within the organization, because each and every organization might have its own do's and don'ts, and be able to share such kind of information. And also there are other processes which very, very important within the organization, which the employee has to know, can be shared, such kind of information. Yeah, so these processes can take weeks, months, depending on the nature of the organization, because if you don't do properly these things, the employee can feel disengaged. So there was a case study somewhere to say an employee had asked his boss to say, in the fifth month of working with that particular organization, to say, how do you expect me to perform when you have not told me how things are done here? You are always accusing me of not following this company's procedures, and yet you have not shown how those procedures have to be done, even on a single day. So it's always important to ensure that the employee is oriented and also is informed on how the processes have to be carried out. It builds team spirit and also a sense of belongingness to the employee. So induction is very, very important, or orientation is very, very important when it comes to operations of an organization. Thank you so much for watching this video.